All right, Shalom, Shalom. Brakati Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to our apostles, elder bishops here, great millstone. Shalom to you brothers, just pushing the work in truth with all sincerity. All right, name of this one is One Thing Establishes Another. One Thing Establishes Another. And really quick, Ecclesiasticus chapter 33 and 14. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. Okay. And we're about to see the evil side. All right, the natural side of the Edomite. All right. And by the way, this is an AI generated photo on the Homeland Security Task Force website, and this is pretty much going into a new task force that Emperor Nero has activated, and it's a federal and I believe a local joint task force. And well, you know what? There's a lady that can explain it way better than I can. But we know this is, essentially the flood that's going to come. All right, a flood of troops. And this is going to be trouble for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, but this will establish the Lord's right hand. All right, so take a good look at it. Okay. Understand they mean business because Emperor Nero, they speak as a dragon, going back to that word draconian, all right, which they're going to rule with severe, cruel, laws. Okay, they're going to punish people for the smallest crimes, especially if you are undocumented, but they're going to label it as, we're cleaning up all the criminals, and yeah, they don't have no care for the for the Israelite, all right, for you tribes, and this is definitely going to be the second Ezra 16 and 68. The burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, Jacob. Okay. And Esau, of course, is out for blood, but this is going to establish the Lord's right hand. All right. And they're going to be deployed in every city, as we know. Okay. So the good establishes, the evil establishes the good. All right. Why is it evil? Of course, because it is the devil, Esau, Edom, and he's about to, he's about to go after you tribes. Okay. That's Jacob's trouble. So 2 Ezra 16:68, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Okay. They want to essentially mass incarcerate, those that don't look like them. But upon doing that, they're going to feed you with things offered unto idols. And essentially that's whatever they want to administer. We ultimately know they want to administer, the chip, okay, which they're not speaking too much about, but it's going to be one of the main things that you gonna need to be, to move, to live, to eat, all right, in Esau's new world order. Okay. So here it says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So even if you consent, they're gonna murder you and kill you. And that's for those who try to, turn on maybe, the truth. Okay. All right. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. All right. That's Jacob's trouble. And it's close. All right. I'm gonna play this video for you. Maybe probably towards the end, for those who stay for the lesson, So it says they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. All right. This is the evil part. Okay. But the Lord said he was going to bring us through. All right. He was going to save us, but there will be casualty. There will be a lot of casualties. And we can only hope that the Lord is on our side because he saw us taking no prisoners. All right. And the prisoners that he's taking, that he's considering, you're going to have to get that chip, So, and it will come a time it's going to be illegal to call yourself an Israelite. It's going to be illegal in America for sure. Okay. Then shall they be, Slaki, it says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. All right. And we know, for example, what happened to the Northern Kingdom, which are the so-called Latinos and natives, they going door to door, taking people out of their homes, arresting babies and all that. That's child's play to them, no pun intended. But they love that type of thing. All right. They're sold. They believe me, even with all the Stein files, the PDF files that's been, exposed to the world. Um, those are the type of people, man. That's who you're dealing with, sociopaths, psychopaths, and they want this world to themselves. Okay, but the point of this lesson is to say the evil establishes the good, or one thing establishes another, and this is going to establish the Lord's right hand. All right, salvation. Okay, strength. All right. Okay, and the ability to escape, to disappear, to fly away on Esau. Okay, as the scriptures say. All right, the Lord is going to give us strength. All right, and I for one know, because the Lord showed not only just me but other brothers visions, of those times that we're coming into. All right, so we got this one because this is perfect right here. All right, again, 72 again, it says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Okay, because they're gonna have those facilities. All right, that they're gonna be stockpiling people in. All right, and I'm sure they're gonna have those plastic, um, those plastic coffins. All right, which are able to fit 3 or 4 or 5 bodies in. It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen. So one thing is going to establish another. So we're going to have to endure this. The scriptures talk about the said measures. You know, um, and of course, that's something that's on our mind all the time. But the Lord said He's going to, 6 troubles. I think that's in Job. You know, um, oops. Yeah, it's 5 and 12. So I can. All right. let's see here. Job 5:12. Yeah, the point being in verse 19. But it says here, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. All right, that's Esau in his new world order. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong, meaning they're going to fall on their face. It's not going to pan out. Okay. It says they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. Confused and confounded, completely confounded. All right. They meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. All right. It says, but he saveth the poor from the sword. All right. Which the sword is the modern day gun. Okay. And this is their power. This is their blessing. All right. By thy sword shalt thou live. Okay. And it should all be open and, be opened up to you on who this man truly is. The Edomite, Esau. Okay. And this is his last ditch effort to prolong and to continue his society. All right. Which, this is, it's not a society, man. It's the kingdom of death. It's a systems of, of oppression, the kingdom of death upon earth, and that's all it has produced, and they're about to do more of it. They're about to do they're about to do the most heinous thing after 250 plus years, 400, 500 years, since, and I'm going back to Cristobal Colon, and essentially what they're saying is, they don't care how they establish this place, rape, rob, and murder. Now they're just going to erase that history and start anew. But in doing so, they want to execute, or they want to execute you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you tribes, All right. But I mean, the real aim is the elect, okay? Because we know that, 2/3 of our people are destined, to go to the spiritual realm. All right. Okay. So, all right. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth. Okay. From their mouth. And I'm going to give you an example. Just a slight example. All right. This is what Esau says, man. Okay. And this is their task force, arresting and removing the worst of the worst, the worst of the worst. So they look at Jake as the worst, tattoo on his head. But, Esau paints with a broad brush, so he's talking about all you Jakes. All right. But the Lord's going to protect us from that. He's going to save us from it and from the hand of the mighty. And they sure are mighty. All right. Better believe it. Job 5:16. So the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth, and it will. Okay, because this is going to establish the Lord's right hand again. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise thou not thou the chastening of the Almighty. And that's to you, brothers, in this faith. Okay. All right. Every day, you're enduring every day. Okay. And part of your growth is going through affliction. That's the chastening of the Lord. Okay. And it don't matter what it is. It's everything you have to deal with in life. It's a chastening of the Lord. All right. All things come from him. Acknowledge him in all your ways. All right. So you should know that. All right. So that's specifically to his elect. Okay. For he maketh sore and bindeth up, he wounded, and his hands make whole. All right. All right. And that's what the Lord's gonna do. All right. No matter what situation we in, the Lord is gonna have us. Okay. I think I hit the point. Yeah, now here's the point. He shall deliver you. Excuse me. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles. Yea, in seven. Good Lord. Yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. All right. And the Lord, by him is establishing his right hand, okay, is a part of him lifting up the standard against Esau. All right, against those men, okay, who want to take us out. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I want this one. Just dealt with that one. And this one. And I only had a few precepts. I did want to play this video of this lady in the end, you know, to kind of go into detail about this, you know, this joint task force that they're going to deploy in the streets. So let's see here. '59 and 19. It says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, Yahweh Bashem Shai, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. Right? And this is specifically referring to those troops. All right. The Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. We're going to go into this word standard because it just covers what I said earlier. You know, the Lord's going to give us the power to disappear, hide, and fly away from this man and take flight. As you can see here, the word for standard is nawas. Nawas. Okay. There's a word that's a word you can use in your prayers. Okay. All right. Remember, prayer is power. Okay. Your power. So here, to flee away, abate. All right. Display, flight, hide, flee out. Lift up a standard, variant. Okay. To take flight, depart, disappear. Right. To the attack on horseback. To fly to the attack on horseback. To drive at, to take flight. Okay. To put to flight. And keep that all in mind. You know, and as I'm reading these, it's reminded me of visions and certain things that were done in the visions. Is specifically, I received that vision before, you know, ever reading Isaiah 59. All right, and 19. Okay, but this is spot on. It's spot on with what, you know, I've seen in those visions. Okay, and to say the least, the Lord is going to give us power to fight back. I'll just keep it like that. All right. So because what Esau is not expecting, he will come with overpowering, you know, that the overpowering force. You know, that's how he moves. All right. Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 17. But that what he's not preparing for. Right. It says, for when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, because they don't believe the Lord, man. You know, they don't believe what we say. But that's fine. That's a trick. Thou shewest thy strength. For when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou shewest thy strength. And among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. You see? And we are going to become bold. Believe me. Because the ones that don't die, all right, and to the ones that do, You know, of course, we'll see you on the other side. And you'll be the first to rise and meet the Lord in the air. Okay. All right. And as the Lord says, you know, precious is the death of his saints, roughly paraphrasing. It's precious in his sight. Okay. It says, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. Yep. Got a few more. Maybe just one. Okay. Isaiah 40 and 28. Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God power, okay, because he's truly a power. Yahweh Shemel Shai, he's truly a power. And believe me when I tell you, he got the power, you know, like that song, you know. I got the power, you know. Yahweh Shai got the power, okay. I ain't feel like, you know, striking no tunes yet, but that's why that was dry. But the Lord Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. So he's gonna save you. Though, yeah, it's scripture say we're gonna be scarcely saved, meaning at the last moment, meaning also in a very dangerous in dangerous moments. All right. I've seen that in the vision as well. He giveth power to the faint. And yeah, and what's coming, man, the world's gonna be darker, it's gonna be sorrows on all sides, man. The scriptures say it, you know. Right now you still, you know, you still buzzing from that illusion of freedom, you know. What Esau is doing is setting up a whole grid system to lock everything down. Okay, he's gonna have drones, he's gonna have men with weapons in the street, you know, and they're gonna run through neighborhoods and communities and they're gonna tear some of them up. All right. And rid a lot of the earth. I mean, a lot of people from the earth, and a lot of those people is gonna be you, Jake's, but everybody's gonna be catching it. But Jake, you know, judgment is gonna start there first. And to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. You see, and in our weakness, we're gonna be made strong. Believe it. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. And that's gonna be of course, the wicked, those that who's got that power now. All right, a somewhat power. But they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Okay. And the Lord is going to invigorate us. All right. And give us strength. All right. He's going to turn our spirits up. And we can't wait. You know, we can't wait. But this has to happen. You know, they got to come in like a flood, you know, and they got to waste, you know, the majority of us, you know, but like the scripture said, a remnant shall return, you know, and those who, you know, who are sent back to the, you know, spirit world. Again, we know they died in Yahweh Shai, they live, you know, they're going to be raised up. Okay. So let's see here. That video. Let's play that video.
th 2026 in the very early hours, 12:45 a.m. East Coast time to be specific, as I'm making this video. And this breaking news is something you need to see, you need to hear, and you need to pass forward. Donald Trump's stormtroopers are here. Really, Stephen Miller's and the Heritage Foundation's and everyone else's. What this is the Homeland Security Task Force website, and it was just recently published within the last 24 hours to the internet To see it, you will need to visit hstf.gov. And there you can see in bold print, no mistakes, we don't negotiate, we dismantle, with this very dystopian AI type of propaganda. To be clear, this is not ICE. This is not one singular agency. This is a multiple agency, local, state, and federal level force, meaning Donald Trump's regime has quite literally created, as I mentioned, stormtroopers, or if you're into the Hunger Games, peacekeepers. These are people that will be on our streets, no matter what city or county or town or borough you live in. So if we go back through the entirety of that executive order, we find a number of unconstitutional moves by this regime, which is not a surprise, but it's something to know about. Number one, they are going to not just suggest, but now require that all individuals in the country without documentation register themselves. Remember that app that came out last year? They want them to register themselves, and they will be asked self-incriminating questions. It says outright that they're going to eliminate all the documents they need to deport someone. Due process is over. And this executive order directly calls out other executive orders as part of the plan. Here's a number of them, which, by the way, includes this one, which was strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. And yeah, according to that executive order, which links to the other one, which then links back to the website, do you see how they kind of piece everything so it's a puzzle you have to put together on your own? According to that, we see that they are asking for military assets to be used in towns like yours and mine, including but not limited to military and national security assets training non-lethal capabilities and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Non-lethal weapons just being used on our streets. Oh, and if you're on the right side of history and a law enforcement officer, they're going to try and use this section, holding state and local officials accountable, as a way to literally, federally, criminally charge you. They want anyone who is willfully and unlawfully directing the obstruction of criminal law, their criminal law, Trump criminal law, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement, or unlawfully engaging in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that restrict law enforcement and activities and endanger citizens. This is illegal. It is unconstitutional. It will make our law enforcement officers at the state and local levels either comply or be charged criminally. This is the makings of something that looks like a civil war. This is the makings of not just, shredding our Constitution, but then shredding it and lighting it on fire. And any American, left, right, up, down, black, white, old, young, doesn't matter. Any American who believes in the Constitution should be just rising up in the streets over something like